Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of SEO news. Today we'll be going through week 47 because we're in week 48, right? I should probably know this before I start the video. Not so much going on here, but yeah, let's just jump right into it. I've got my co-host Linus, myself, Frederick
Hello.
Drost. We work for Precis Digital, best agency out there, and yeah, we've got some news for you guys. And yeah, let's start slow and easy here before we get into the heavy stuff. The tech SEO, a really good thing. It's in my bookmarks of people and websites to follow. He made a sheet that works with Wayback Machine, so you can discover lost URLs with value. And I actually have it open here. It's really cool. I haven't tested it, but I do like the idea. And I didn't know they had an API, which I hope is what they're using here. So that's kind of news to me. So I'll probably open this and have a look at it. And again, yes, the thing is you might have orphaned URLs or lost URLs that are still getting value. Now, Ahrefs should be able to pick those up because backlinks going to your domain will still be picked up, and maybe it's a 404, whatever it is. So yeah, I'm not really sure here if he's referring to like older site migrations where we move from domain to domain, and then we're picking those up. But still, this is on a domain level. So I'll have to get into exactly what he's doing here because broken backlinks should fix what I think he's trying to fix here. But I'm not really sure. But at least we can see the content at scale.
I've also used the API, so I've also set up a script for this, but not especially for this, but rather crawling the HTML in the Wayback Machine results to find, like, we had a client that migrated and lost all their content, and this was the only way to get all the content back.
Oh, wow. Okay. Smart. All right.
So it does have some usage points, but what I found was so good with this, or at least how I think, I haven't tested it yet, is that it doesn't seem to be hit by any of the rate limit problems that I found with the API.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do things at scale with the Wayback Machine API, at least when I used it, you got rate limited after like 5 URLs. So it was very troublesome to use.
Okay.
So
yeah, there must be better
how
ways.
they got around it.
Yeah, now I know Ahrefs has a way of looking at content changes over time as well. So there's a bunch of other tools that track this. It's pretty interesting. Don't lose your content is a good rule of thumb here. Yeah, your audio is jumping a bit off and on. It sounds like you're going underwater and then above water again. I'm not sure if it's the headphones or anything.
I'll have a look. I'll go through the next.
Yeah, you kind of, suddenly, it really sounds like you're underwater.
Maybe better now.
Oh yeah, much better. Thank you. We're still rolling, baby. Okay. Yeah. So we have we can do this internally, but if you don't have a person like Linus on your team, here's a sheet that might help for whatever you need it for. Next up, we've got positive changes to AI overviews. So Lily Ray is really following along there. Again, big in US, UK. A lot of our European clients have not seen the impact of these. But again, I'll show you. She basically noticed that the inlinks here are, well, it's an upgrade because, again, we've always been worried that AIO will take our content, spit it out, and we don't get any links, we don't get any references or anything like that. And here we're kind of trying to promote, Google is trying to promote people to actually click and visit the websites, which is great. And I think that's what we have to go back to, even if it's an AIO. So I like this. And as you can see, NerdWallet here has been mentioned 4 times plus underneath. So you're actually getting a huge amount of exposure. Now, again, is this because it's ranking number 1? What is the correlation between ranking versus AIO? Not really sure. I know that there's plenty of other examples of people not really ranking well, but for related keywords, they might be ranking a bit, and they're getting featured as well. So hopefully this could actually bring up some exposure from websites that didn't get so much. But in this case, it seems a little bit too much for NerdWallet there, to be honest. But quite interesting. I think it's a positive outlook on AIO. More traffic coming from there. Well, hopefully we can track that as well somehow. So yeah, I'm optimistic at this point. Any thoughts?
No, it's just very interesting. Like, obviously, they're reacting to all the kinds of feedbacks they're getting on the AIOs and just reiterating time and time again. So I think it's very interesting time to be alive within SEO, really.
Agreed. Yeah, and they also did change the head of search One was the previous one was nicknamed "The Man Who Killed Search," and I think they brought in someone who was a bit more focused on actual search. The previous one was more money focused. So
Yep.
yeah, there's been this discussion with publishers as well. Google recently did that event, which we covered, I think, 3 videos ago. So yeah, hopefully Google is going the right direction. They're feeling the pressure from other tools
For sure.
picking their customer base away from them. So they have to actually listen to us a little bit. Great. Next up here, we have a little analysis here on AIO. They keep coming out, so AI overviews still nascent. A lot of people doing these analysis. This one is confirming that it's stabilizing and maturing, which is good. So again, I think BrightEdge did this data, and again, so showing that the daily growth is slowed down to 1.3%. So maybe we're entering this more stable phase. And again, it's more macro changes, etc. The one we just saw previously here. So again, maybe Google is scaling it a little bit back and just trying to tweak it. And again, we'll just follow along on that. And this I like because a lot of our clients are in Europe, and if we can get this very mature, stable version of AI overviews and then getting it in Europe, that would be great because then all the bugs have been fixed, just like a game that's been pre-launched too early. And then next up here, Marie Haynes and others as well, are noticing that personalization might be a thing in this core update. So again, there's a November core update. It's still rolling out, it seems. And it seems like, yeah, every year around Black Friday, they love to do that and spook people away. And again, so what's the consequences of personalization? Tools might not pick up the drops or peaks in traffic compared to Google Search Console. So that's pretty important to notice is once you get personalized data, you have to be logged in. And so SEMrush and Ahrefs might not pick up any swings that we would see, which means, and again, why do we need to compare Ahrefs to Search Console? We already have access, but if we're doing competitor comparison, that's where it gets dangerous. So the tools might become less efficient in the future, especially with personalization, although if you have clickstream data and you're logged in, it should still come into SEMrush. So I'm not really sure how much, but if we can see swings and our competitors, that not necessarily means that our competitor doesn't, if we just look at SEMrush or Ahrefs. So let's just all remind everyone listening here that, SEMrush and Ahrefs are not perfect, but I think if you look at large scale data sets from SEMrush or Ahrefs over time, it gives you a good trend. That's really also what we care about is where the trend's going in many cases when we do competitor analysis. Great. This one is pretty cool. I have to show you. I know you're not following along here, but click on the link for row 5, 7, 8 here. So basically, you can actually try the link here. So I'll show this to everyone watching. So there's something called site engagement metrics that are used by Google. And this ties really well into the next one as well, which is the whole Google selling Chrome or have to sell Chrome. But if I show you here, I can actually access my own site engagements, and we can see calendar is just, it's really got #1 spot. Do Google Docs, Google Meet. Again, this is my work account. What's interesting is Google will probably use this data to see how engaged I am with these websites, and this is how it can personalize my search results. But it can also use this data for ranking, etc., etc. You can access a lot more of your user data and metrics in Chrome than you would think. Actually, each click, each hover, how long you're on page, everything is actually registered and can be sent back to Google. This is just one way of seeing it, is the site engagement one. I think it's interesting to share because the next piece of information I want to share today is the long time sell-off of Chrome. So Google has been told by the Department of Justice to sell off Chrome, and there's a few other details I'm not going to go into, but the question is here, there's an article from Wired about skepticism. First of all, how long will it take to sell off Chrome? Who will even want to buy Chrome? Because is it profitable for just a single company to own Chrome? And if Bing buys Chrome, is it then misusing its monopoly in a sense? Can it misuse it as much? Like, how do we actually sell off Chrome, really? And is the end of Google's monopoly more, should we just wait for innovation to take over? Like SearchGPT, et cetera, et cetera. I know you have some thoughts here, Linus. I love this. I'm not really sure what to think.
It's a very politically charged thing, regardless. I think I mean, if you look into the future, like Trump is very much pro competition and kind of, I'd say, from what I've understood, kind of anti like laws that make it harder for businesses to exist. So from that end, he and I think his administration would be like not very much open to maybe like hindering Google. But I also think, like, I just thought about like the most reasonable buyer, if they still have to sell, would probably be Mozilla, because Mozilla's all their revenue comes from Google, because they pay for Google to be the like default search browser. And kind of weirdly enough, where it would not be a good business reason for anyone else to buy it, it would be a good business reason for Mozilla to buy it, because then they could get the Google money twice.
They could, yes, I guess you're right. But also, I was always, we talked about last video, or was it the previous one? I can't. Basically, all these metrics that Google is using from Chrome, which are really good, right? They can see how I interact with search results in Chrome, and they can use that to see if it's a good result. Not sure if that's the best way. Do we really? I wouldn't even trust myself with what's a good result sometimes. But no matter, that is important data. If you sell off Chrome, they could sell that data back, but they can also sell it to everyone else in the search business, and that's what's going to level the playing field. So people can just buy Chrome and then sell Google data back. But do Google really need it? Do you think? Has it even hurt them more than anything? You know, for example, if engagement is a criteria for good result, if I'm searching for anything medical, usually I will find the result and then I'll save it and I'll think about it and I'll close it. But if I'm on Reddit, I might deep dive into it. I might click on things and you get lost on Reddit. So if they think that means it's a good result just because I get lost in it, because it's Reddit, I mean, I'm not sure how they translate these user metrics, but it seems like it's not that good. The quality has been going down. So does Google really need it? And I think it'd be good for Google to sell off Chrome, because you do a hard reset. Google, now you just become a search engine again based on just all the other factors. Like, forget user metrics. I mean, you still have core web vitals, but that was also through Chrome, right? So like, forget user experience. You have to figure out a good result based on not users and user experience. And I think that might be a good reset for Google to come back to the old ways a little bit. But let's see. They could just buy the data anyway. But
I don't think they'll exist, or I don't think they'll keep working without the data. Once you have the data, you're corrupted by the data, and you need the data.
Yeah, you think it's too entrenched now. They can't go that far back. Okay, and I never thought about Mozilla, but yeah, that's actually an interesting one. Interesting. Yeah, they would start, because I think in Europe, Chrome is like 80-70% of the browser market. It's huge. So that's something now. But they are not allowed to manipulate it either. But they do have. So, I mean, they're not allowed to use that, because you have a dominance in the browser market. You need to be careful too. So it's one of those, hey, buy my grenade, live grenade. You know, it's not an easy sell and buy. I'd be very interested to see who buys this. Could be Reddit too, you know, who knows? Just Reddit buying it. Great. We'll keep you updated on this. Specifically, if there's any bits, I'll feature this, even though it's a little bit SEO related. I'll feature a lot of this. Then we have some small news here. Google Business Profile guidelines have been updated. It's a small thing here. Storefronts required for minimum age product. What does that mean? If you're selling anything that has an age limit, like tobacco, cigarettes, etc., vape, you actually need a storefront. And a storefront, I mean physical. You have to be able to come in and people see that you're old enough. That does make sense. Now, the example I saw for people that are affected by this is medicinal cannabis delivery in Canada, where they don't have storefronts, but they do have local businesses. You find them, and then you can get it. And that's something that they might lose some of their Google Business Profiles and then visibility in maps. Do we have any clients with this is affected? I do not think so.
I don't think so either.
No. But if you're selling alcohol and you don't have a storefront or tobacco or anything like that, watch out. It's a very niche case here, I would say. And I think it's mostly the cannabis in America. Yeah, I can't even think of an example in Europe.
I guess beauty products, like CBD.
Is there an age limit for that? CBD is already a mess in Google in Europe, I would say.
Yeah, either it was something that was used for branding purposes, or there was age limit on it. But I think I've heard something about there being an age limit on
Okay,
YouTube products.
that could be, yeah. And again, they need a storefront, but if you're a web shop, then you don't need the local My Business. So it's a weird thing where when are you a local business without a storefront, right? That's a weird one. So yeah, well, let's just keep it up there for now. And then here is lastly but not least, Casper, the other co-host that's not here today. He found this great guide for ranking in YouTube organically. So it break down a good breakdown of its recommendations and the system and the algorithm. So again, basically, you have a YouTube video, you've got a bunch of things you can do with that title, meta description, and you can, like with websites, optimize for the algorithm. Is it as complex as regular SEO? No, because you're still limited within the platform what you can do. It's not like you can do whatever you want. But yeah, still very good to know here, and he's probably the best guide out there, or he wouldn't have shared it. So it's here for you. If you're wondering, all these news, there'll be summaries, descriptions, and links in the description in this video. They'll be nice and friendly formatted, so you can almost copy paste them and send them to your clients, whoever you want, with nice little summaries. And yeah, that's it. Very slow news week, I would say. So, have a great day. Like and subscribe if you want to hear more of this, and I will see you on the other side.